Just about ready to get started here. Looks like we are good to go. All right. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is Friday, July 16th, 2021. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few things for today. Overall conversation probably going to be a little bit lighter. I'm willing to kind of open the floor to maybe some questions as needed. But a couple things still to take into both today's session and into next week. Starting off with our dollar, we still have a dollar that is rising against a strong equity, and even in the case of metals, a somewhat rising gold market. So as this is occurring, some very simple indicators. We're seeing things like RSI start to diverge as prices rising. RSI on the daily is starting to slowly creep lower. Stochastic starting to roll over. And even something as simple as a MACD starting to cross, but still in an upward above zero line level. So as far as the dollar setup is concerned, and the fact that it has been an area of interest to watch. We have this sort of 50-50 potential for a breakout of the dollar. One, to be fairly powerful as it is reacting against our normal indication. But two, this move in the dollar moving higher is counteracting the current price action in the stock market, which of course has some additional divergences if you're looking at both daily and weekly timeframes. So as the dollar is in this precarious position, we haven't really seen a move lower to break this setup, but we also haven't seen the clear breakout on the setup to basically provide the fear aspect. Something to always be watching, maybe once a day, look and see if this is going to shift the perception of the overall market trend, which yesterday was a little shaky. We saw some selling in tech. The Qs were noticeably a bit weaker, and we still have the IWM trying to basically hit that downside target after a couple of periods of selling. So watching that in combination with gold, gold has at the short term sort of found some resistance around the 200 period daily moving average. Nothing worth noting at this time. We haven't seen any sort of strong pullback or large wick through this area, but overall the movement in gold countered the dollar, and the fact that we have larger economic conversations and discussions around inflation, whether or not it's transitory, what type of inflations are we encountering. We're certainly seeing wage inflation. We haven't really seen shrinkflation or any larger, I would say, like recessionary aspects of things like stagflation. But these conversations are ongoing. It does feel as if the market is trying to, in the short term, maybe set up or schedule some positions in these areas that are more defensive in nature. And that has been true with some, excuse me, I need to sneeze. Ooh, hopefully I don't sneeze, but try and get that one to go back down. We've seen that with some of the posturing and I would say higher dividend yields, a little bit more defensive sectors and position movement. Real estate has been outperforming. Amidst some of the larger sectors that we watch day in and day out, real estate has been in an uptrend and really hasn't bucked the trend as of late. So we're seeing continued upside, maybe a bit of divergence here starting to form And that's due to the fact that we see these swing highs not necessarily carrying much higher, along with, that same divergence that's been building for quite a while in the market. We also have the likes of Pepsi coming out with their earnings this week. And that has, in the short term, caught a little bit of a bid in the consumer staples sector, ETF, and just overall general performance of consumer staples. So a little bit of a short-term breakout here. We do have a little bit of increased volume as well. And then Pepsi came out with very strong earnings. The reaction was quite positive. And so far, that has been 3 trend days to the upside, higher highs, higher lows, a huge earnings gap as well. So notable performance from one of our earnings that has not been financial in nature. And that is amidst a sort of a mixed bag of financial stocks this past week. We also had UNH report. And while the structure here is one of a bit of setup, kind of thinking your ABCD structure for maybe continued upside, we are watching XLV as a whole, and specifically the Dow with the UNH strength, to catch some of that upside if it were to continue. So Dow and XLV, very strong postures, very strong trends. So far, really haven't hit that sort of topping formation quite yet. We do see a lot of these pullbacks being bought, and obviously the healthcare breakout occurred quite recently. So we're going to see just how much strength this actually has. May have a bit more legs to go. So, the conversation, the areas to watch are very similar. Platform's moving quite slowly today. Still watching crude. We're seeing hesitation to bust through those previous swing highs. We're seeing back tests of the lower support or lower resistance region. This is at 75 to 77. And we're seeing testing of the previous swing lows after the initial reaction of hitting the supply marker, that target that we had marked previously. So crude, short term, very hesitant to move higher. Weekly, starting to look a little bit shaky. If you think about the idea of maybe triggering a downside move on the weekly, you'd be losing the previous week's candle low, and that trigger, that inside candle into a downside trigger, that could lead to that larger pullback. At the time, just targeting something like the 20-period weekly moving average. That would bring us back into some previous targets from the first major weekly markup phase, basically the first uptrend that occurred in crude. So if that's to take place, energy, same idea, hasn't been outperforming as of late, still starting to see some downside. We'd be looking at maybe additional lower targets. This would bring us back to some notable swing lows back before we had our retracement breakout, which is that sort of downtrend starting to clear that gap to really get us over the hurdle, and then that move higher bring us to a new high. And finally, I think always worth watching utilities, I would say, as a bond complement, and in lieu of interest rates heading lower in the short term, it does appear as if sometimes we have a shift in monetary flow for looking at high yield and running to the utility sector as sort of that safe haven. Always worth watching just when we see these large reaction candles. These are very impulsive moves in the market. And while utilities had a collapse based on a previous setup that was looking to head higher, this sort of set the stage for technology to really catch a bid. We're now seeing that once again change. So short term, trying to see if this has some legs to it. Is it going to continue? And are we seeing, once again, market participants maybe shift away from high beta and high growth back into maybe high yield, a little bit more defensive posturing in nature? And that's with real estate, healthcare, more of a market topping sector, along with consumer staples outperforming, I would say mostly on the back of Pepsi and some of the sort of correlated earnings run up that we might be having. But it is worth watching, as it has been basically in sort of a range prior to that. All right. And finally, let's take a look at something we haven't looked at in quite a while. I think I could do it here just fine. Okay. So here I have Bitcoin futures. Now, for those watching Bitcoin, watching the crypto markets, we know some higher time frame key levels that Bitcoin is trying to respect. We know 30,000 is very important. We saw that 30,000 was tested once. So far, that test was respected. We saw that wick through and set up an additional period of just consolidation, less conviction to the upside necessarily, but also not necessarily losing 30,000 in some sort of flash crash to the downside. We also know that the overall trend on the daily is starting to change inside of Bitcoin. Now, with these daily charts, we look at the same basic concepts as we do any other marketplace. We see that so far, Bitcoin is using the 20 period as a very specific area of resistance. It's having a lot of trouble clearing it on the daily time frame. We haven't seen a real strong close above. And even attempts to close have been met with that reversal structure. So amidst a period of range compression, any sort of value generation that's occurring mid-range in the larger time frames, Bitcoin still is breaching through lower, and we're seeing that drawdown back to the 30,000 range. Now, in this time frame, we need to simply be aware that so far, the same scenario could take place in the opposite direction. We do have poor closure and bad resolution to the upside, leading to a more trending moving average acting as resistance. And then we have a known area on the chart that has acted as support and a key level for, at this time, approximately 2 months. So as we are nearing this area, and we're pretty close to it today, we're about 1,000 per coin away. And as we're seeing volume start to accelerate, at least in the previous sessions, watching this area closely, having a game plan regardless of your mentality, your time frame, and even your perception of what your next move is going to be, having a game plan for all scenarios is going to be important. Because in the short term, things are down sloping. We do have very clear areas that have rejected multiple times. Market is apparently respecting that and moving us back to prices that have not been seen in quite a while. We're also watching historical key zones that acted as support, specifically on things like the 30,000 test. This is what made this first attempt lower so powerful back to the upside. We had about 20 8, I want to say 6 or 7,000. Very clear swing low in a reaccumulation phase that occurred in the bullish move, the bullish sort of markup move before we hit major distribution to the top side. It made that move powerful. If you were trading this, you were quite happy with the reaction. But as things are shifting and as they are changing, we need to recognize that we're coming back to this area, but we're not coming back to it in the same way. We're very trickling, some may call it bleeding. We have some sloping resistance lines that have not been countered yet. And when you're looking at this on the daily, when you're looking at this on the weekly, we're starting to get that potential closure below the 50 period on the weekly, assuming this weekly candle closes near the lows. And then you shift out to larger time frames like the monthly, that same basic concept needs to take in place. You're trying to find these moments short term where things may be starting to curl or shift. And if they are failing, or if we see some reason to indicate that it is starting to lose this zone, then we need to expand our time frame, look for the next potential area and setup. And then if you're trading, of course, take advantage of those trades. If you're investing, obviously, maybe a different mindset, but ultimately investors should love lower prices. Ultimately, the concept that this is more long-term in nature. So the reason I bring this up is because Riot and Mara have been in that quote unquote bleed period for a period of about a week and a half. Most of the daily candles on the miners have been quite poor to the downside, and we're seeing that same concept play itself out in the weekly. We had nice reaction off of the 30,000 test, and even the 30,000 bottom facilitated bottoming in these miners. But now we're seeing the return and potential retesting of the lows. And this can be seen on the daily with the 200 period. This is why keeping these areas of interest in mind and then watching to see how they react. Are we going to get poor closure? Are we going to get continual selling, maybe even some higher volume selling into, once again, capitulation, moving from more anxiety, which the crypto market has been in a period of anxiety, into, capitulation, despair, levels of psychological, changes throughout a full market cycle like this. So regardless of which coin, chart, equity that you're trading, there's a lot of correlation here, so I'm not going to look at it extensively, but today does appear to be one of those moments where you can start to, once again, pay attention, see if we get something notable that changes the tone, and if we don't, be prepared for what is setting up as an eventual possible collapse of 30K. We'll see if that takes place. And obviously we have notable levels and areas to watch to see if that truly is taking place. We're looking for poor weekly closures. We're looking for not necessarily the wick down, which is just a test at that time, but we're looking for confirmation of losing that level for the first time. So something to watch. We're close to it, so we need to watch it. Structure is fairly poor short term, so they really need to put up some sort of defense before that that eventual loss could take place. So okay, so that's pretty much all I have for today. So I'll open it up to the chat room. If y'all have any questions, we can look at a chart. We can look at higher questions, economic, anything that we look at for correlations in the market. Open-ended at this point, and we'll see what comes in. I'll probably give about 5 to 10 minutes for the main chat, and then I'll look at a couple questions on YouTube. Okay, Chris, so Oxy and Tilray. So Oxy is going to be fitting into that main crude theme. We are seeing so far two downside moves. We kind of have that first push, short-term reaction, pullback retracement, another collapse. Crude is on that tipping point. So Oxy is putting in reduced selling volume on the daily. We're also coming into this gap area, which I think is always interesting intraday. If we start to get down here, and let me look and see what the pre-market's giving us. So we're kind of flat overall in the pre-market. But this area is of interest for intraday traders because we're at a support zone that is going to potentially be defended. And if it's not, I would say look at crude to kind of give some indication. We may come down today and attempt to fill this gap. It is a Friday, maybe the volatility won't be as high, but as far as what's setting up and what would be a good general target is allowing this to fill up first before looking for any sort of reactionary bounce, obviously with a lower high as the target on the daily. So that's Oxy for me. Tilray, okay. Tilray's been interesting. So 3 high volume days. We're seeing maybe a little bit of a sell the news event in the cannabis and MJ space so far. Losing the 200 on the daily. I do like to look at the weekly when that occurs. That usually coincides well with the 50. But as far as this poor momentum setup and the fact that we've been distributing for a long time, there may become a point where this becomes exhausted. And I would say on your weekly, you definitely want to take note of this previous swing low that comes up to just your major low on the daily here, whatever number that is. And obviously, if we need to come and test it, that should be downside targets intraday, given that we haven't filled up the rest of that space. If we are going to re-accumulate and curl back higher, that would be in lieu of maybe earnings coming up soon, along with the fact that this entire space has been selling for a long period of time. And that's understanding that that's how this space moves. This is not new for Tilray. It's just on a shorter time frame and a lower range. So nothing really unfamiliar here for Tilray. Just know that that first run up gave up approximately, looks like 99% of the move. So, whether you're willing to look into that swing or maybe even for day trade, just that short term swing low bounce, sorry. All right. Do you see correlations between this earnings period and last? There's been, we've only had financials for the most part. If we look at earnings last financial period, so this week in financials, we'll just put it at this candle here. And so 712, it's going to be approximately 412. It should be this time frame here, somewhere in here, when we got the first round of financial earnings. Obviously, financials were postured better at the time because we had rising interest rates starting to really heat up around this time. This is when we were breaching 1.3 and 1.5 in the 10-year. And financials had been trending prior to that on the short time frame. We were elevated in the weekly, and that's where you bring in, your exponentials to see, this reaction here, set up that pullback buy. But that trend line, that structure, we got all of the earnings out of the way, and then it looks as if we did a breakout, but the volume was pretty poor. leading to maybe the topping occurring in weekly. Yet the daily at this time, somewhere in this area, setting up for at least another swing high move. So I would say no, just based on technicals. Financials are not in the same position, and interest rates are not really in the same posture, because they may be at the same rate, but their position is different. They're selling off, quote unquote. Bonds are rallying as opposed to still seeing downside pressure in this area. And even today, we're getting possible breakout in the TLT. So I would say no. Correlations are a little different. There's more economic reason to look at financials, I think, now more than ever. And it seems as if some of that just, I would say, maybe complacent money flow into financials that occurred prior is really starting to wane. So I want to see how that resolves, and maybe look to take advantage of that if it keeps going lower. Any thoughts on mRNA this morning? Lots of momentum in this space. If you're looking at correlations, AstraZeneca, with the Delta variant, the efficacy of AstraZeneca is notably lower than Moderna and even, I believe, Pfizer, although I don't have the numbers for that in front of me. And Moderna, structurally, much stronger trend. We've seen, this previous swing high breakout. It's gapping up somewhere in the 280s, I believe, right now. So market is responding to information about the Delta variant and aspects of the vaccine, and it's rewarding some of these companies with moves higher, and the companies that are not quite positioned as well, huge collapse, large selling volume, really starting to change what has been a decent little uptrend since earnings. So look at that, maybe see if you can find that continuation in either name. AstraZeneca may be selling off more this morning. It's kind of holding near the lows at the time. So Trader J, same idea. If Delta variant is being respected in the market, stay-at-home stocks may get sort of that initial bid. Definitely look and see if that's already been occurring. I would say to some degree it has, but we're seeing in this space specifically a very clear, if your vaccine does this, then you are rewarded with higher prices. If your vaccine does not do this, rewarded with lower. So, or punished with lower, I should say. All right, so let me go to YouTube real quick, and then I can answer the rest of the BBT chat. Texas, could you look at MA daily? I'm assuming you're talking about MasterCard and not just like a moving average, just making sure. But we'll look at MA regardless. Heavy tech stock, digital payment, cashless payment, a lot of benefits with not necessarily stay at home, but just like economic recovery, spending habits of the consumer, the fact that, credit allows for a lot of the consumers to continue pushing the envelope of taking potential additional stimulus and using it to purchase. So it increases purchasing power. I also see this as just tech being the outperformer as of now. So if you are talking about MA, then yes, I see that breakout as a very notable one with volume. Obviously, when we were looking prior to the breakout, this is kind of the structure that you had, and that technical breakout is looking quite solid. So we also have weekly support. Very, very simple, just concepts here. Just always using your MA as a sort of a guide. I like seeing the weekly 20 be respected. Why do you use volume indicator for? Could you rephrase your question? So the volume indicator inside of the volume profile is to understand where to expect large accumulation or distribution zones in the past, and using those shelves, those areas, along with levels on the chart to understand where reactions might occur. So if you have sharp sell-offs, but you land at a spot of a very high balance area, you come to a key chart level, oftentimes a reaction occurs there, and that reaction is usually counter the move. So it's kind of like running into a big wall of buyers. These buyers have been here for a while, they've accumulated, you moved higher, you come back to them and they're like, we still want to buy here. You know, we bought here before, we maybe profited already higher, you know, we had a target. Now you're coming back to us, you know, we'll buy more. And that's where we expect things to sort of shift once again. Very simple support and resistance concepts there, but also a little bit of accumulation distribution. And with market profile theory, much more in the way of imbalance and balance in the market. And with the last question, I'll just look at QQQ. We talked about how there is some weakness yesterday. Keep in mind, QQQs have been elevated for a while, seeing some sell-off, seeing some volume increase on the first real pullback that the Qs have had in a while. Not very surprising, not very worrisome yet. But as with everything, this is often how tops are formed in the short to medium term. Things just kind of hit that exhaustion level. We see trends start to break apart. And with the Qs, you can watch something like the 1 hour 200. You can look at the daily MAs, but they have to be exponential with what we're testing right now. And just know that a lot of these stocks have hit sort of these very key points price-wise. Apple hit 150 yesterday. Goog is kind of hitting that 2650. And with Facebook, some of the communication stocks, along with consumer discretionary, they haven't been in that same posture in a few days. So just seeing that healthy pullback for now. We'll see if that evolves into another swing high or is starting to collapse the trend. So. All right, I think that's all the time I got. So let's go ahead and call it for Friday. Let's shift over to Carlos and Norm, pre-market prep. I think it's actually going to be Carlos and someone else. So just Carlos for now. But as always, trade safe. My name is Jarad, engineering the markets. See y'all next week and look forward to another week of evaluation for ending up in July. So trade safe. Talk to y'all later.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I am wonderful, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing good as always, man. Doing good. Can't complain.
Excellent.
All right, so guys, Peter is covering for Norm this morning. Norm has some last minute things that came up. All is well. He is going fine. Just needs some time to take care of some stuff there. So, with that said, guys, let's take a look at our watch list from yesterday, starting with AMC here. Again, this thing, it's been fun. Got a little bit of some relief yesterday. Did held on to this 31.26. We talked about this level being an area where in the pre-market we saw a lot of support building here and actually played through into the market open. At the market open, you got a nice, beautiful pop and continuation, as you can see right on here. Just a beautiful initial opening range. Maybe a 1 minute, 5 minutes to extend it already. So you can't really trust that, especially on AMC. And then from there, it's just kind of moved sideways in this range, right? So it didn't do a whole lot until later in the afternoon. And then again, found some support here and right back up. So again, I think we're going to see a lot of this type of activity from AMC as it continues to really lose a lot of the levels that it has already. Right now, it's up 4.5 again with amazing volume at 1.7. Here is space, pretty choppy, guys. Again, and we saw a lot of this yesterday. It's just a lot of chop, which is expected during these times in the market as we're getting into summer trading or are in summer trading. You see a lot of this just choppiness, guys. Space was not clean yesterday. Here is Apple. Apple also, just hovering around that all-time highs. They hit 150 yesterday. I believe this is, that's the highest we hit, right? We hit it in the pre-market. We tested it again right at the market open. And then from there, just kind of sold off a little bit. It is up slightly today. Again, not as much volume in the pre-market so far as we've seen in the past. So we'll see if the buyers are exhausted here on the Apple again. They had an incredible run over the last couple of days. Here's Neo. Again, you got an initial pop on Neo. A little choppy start. Did take off here. Does hit the high of the day here and then breaks out towards this 43.81. And you get a beautiful bull flag ABCD pattern forming here on the 1 minute, especially. You can see the continuation of this breakout here. That was nice on Neo. So if you were patient and waiting for that, you would have taken advantage of that. And then probably the one that traded the best yesterday, and we have the man to talk about it himself, Peter, was AMD. AMD was just real nice, guys. Look at this downtrend it got into. Right out of the open, showed itself really weak. Sold down here, try to get above the VWAP. Cannot. This is the VWAP line right here. Just marking in case you can't see it. Cannot stay above the VWAP. Good indication that the stock is weak. And there it is. Slams down towards the low of the day. It just continues this beautiful downtrend on the 9 moving average. Testing the 20 at a couple of times here. But aside from that, just an incredible short on AMD. Probably one of the best trading stocks that we had on at least on my list yesterday. And we knew the struggle we had yesterday, guys. It was not easy to find stocks in play, right? It was a lot on the gappers list, but if you recall, I mean, it was not easy to do that. So with that
Carlos,
said,
if we could just mention too, if you could bring up DKNG for a second, I wanted to give a shout out to Thor on our team who, guys, you always need to keep your eye open, scan your list. Like Carlos was saying, you don't always have things that are great to trade. And DKNG was something that Thor traded early afternoon, so around 2 o'clock. Look at that reversal play. Look at the volume signature you can see there. It's just a testament to keep your eyes open, continue to pay attention, use the scanners. We do our best to identify stuff that's moving in the morning, but you just never know what's going to be in play. And this was a great catch by Thor that he was able to get the great reversal and carry that into the close.
Absolutely, man. So patience, man. You got to be patient during this market time. So that is very, very important. What you were doing before might not work during this period. So just be mindful of that and switch your trading. Adjust with the market is very, very important for long-term success. All right, guys. Let's go over to the market pulse. Peter, what do we have as far as news data for today? I think what's on there might be older than new. I'm not sure. I didn't check with Norm.
That's a good question. Well, let me check it here while we're talking. It's a Friday, so normally we don't get a lot of announcements coming up. Yeah, that looks like it's yesterday's. Today, right about now, we should have the retail sales coming out. I don't see the actual numbers. They're not out yet, but they're supposed to be out at 8:30. We got the consumer sentiment index at 10 and business inventories. So none of those typically result in big movements in the markets. So really nothing major that should derail whatever momentum and direction the market chooses to take.
Got you 100% there. All right, let's take a look at our list this morning, guys. On the top side, we do have a couple in the green this morning, just a few in the red, and I'm looking at the same tickers we looked at before, Tau and EDU, which are not great. We know these are a Chinese education company that's just been getting slammed. Again, not really good day trading stock. And then we have few FGEN, so we'll see what's up with that one. That one's down 34% today. Looking at the list of tickers, we got a couple on here that have been decent, but for the most part, doesn't look too promising just now. It's just taking a quick, 30,000 feet look at it. We'll take a closer look in a second, see what's happening there. Let's remove our list from yesterday, guys. Highlight this, Control X, and here we go. And let's start with a low flow, Lissy here, 13 million shares float. Already traded 1.6 million shares. Let's get our 5 minutes. We can kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on. So that's the pre-market action. Again, you got some volume on this one. Horrible daily, by the way. I don't like the way this daily is. The pre-market action could be better. I'm on the fence on this low flow. I think we've seen better. The volume is great, but this pre-market action is not looking all that exciting. I'm going to put Lissy down here.
Lissy is a Chinese, one of the Chinese stocks. They announced this morning they had a partnership with another Chinese company for some automotive technology. And as soon as you say automotive technology and especially in the EV sector, people go wild. So Lissy, it's jumped up occasionally. I don't know that I've ever traded it because, like you said, it doesn't always give good signals. Maybe today is its day, but it's at least moving on news.
Yeah, definitely worth taking a second look at, guys. It's got to get better, though. We talked about this pre-market action. When you start getting these type of wicks here, right, it's not fluid as you've seen like the other ones where you got great volume and you got ABCD pattern after ABCD pattern. A few of those stocks we had throughout this week, like TDSS, if I remember correctly, had an amazing ABCD pattern in the pre-market. This one doesn't look like that. The volume is great. Let's see if that can get turned around a little bit later. Here's MGI this morning. Horrible pre-market action, even worse daily. They're not a low flow. They're sitting at 79 million shares float. This is MoneyGram. Oh yeah, we've seen this before, guys. It does not trade very well. Very light on volume for most days. Today they're up 9%, which is pretty nice for them. But again, I just don't trust this stock to trade good at all. So I'm gonna stay away from this one. All right, let's take a look at Emeren. Emeren this morning, 9.2 million shares traded. So I thought I was going to find some kind of support here. It didn't. That collapsed. You do have shares for sure on this one. Great day yesterday here as far as it going red. Trying to recover today by being up 8.8, but still, man, this thing, I don't know if it's tradable anymore. Notice the difference here when we had amazing volume, right? It's just incredible. 350 million, 177, 50 million. You're not getting that now. You're still getting great volume, but notice the difference since the 7th, right? You're not really pushing up like this anymore. So I'm on the fence on this one, guys. We'll add it on here, but got to be careful.
Yeah, MRIN, I think, is a second day play. So be wary. Some people love them. Some people hate them. It actually, the only news I could find was yesterday when they sort of they edged back off of their second quarter financial results, which are coming out first week of August. So yesterday you can see that MRIN had a big drop. This looks like sort of just a correction and a reaction. You can see that big candle at just before 7:30 when it moved up. So I don't really know whether it's going to be in play much today, but we might keep an eye on it. We'll see.
All right, yeah, we'll throw it on here. I mean, it's done some good stuff in the past. Let's see what's going to happen today. Already great volume, guys, 2.1 up 9.3. But just reminder, this is a low flow stock sitting at 9.2 million. So again, be very careful with this one. mRNA this morning, they are up a nice 7.6. Peter, any news on this? They're up quite nice here this morning. Looks like last night they had an incredible pop there, going from 262 all the way up to 280. So that's almost $20 there. Pretty nice stuff. What's the latest?
Yeah, there's some excitement around mRNA. You can expect there to be buying. So it was announced that they are going to be added to the S&P 500. So they will be part of that index as of the open of the markets next Wednesday, July the 21st. So that's going to give it a boost because you will get buying as people have to rebalance portfolios, and especially those that might be market tracking portfolios. Now they've got to add it, right? If you've got an S&P 500 tracking portfolio, you don't have to add mRNA. So that's going to give it a little boost as it usually does. We'll see that generally what happens is you get it the day or two after the announcement. It'll taper off towards towards the actual inclusion, and then an inclusion date. Frankly, usually not much happens because people have sort of settled the position, but we'll see in this case.
Yeah, definitely up
It's
nicely.
not the double bonus, of course, because it's also involved in, and as sorry, and I cut you off there, but as
No, go
Jarad
ahead.
was talking about this morning, if you caught his earlier material, there's a lot of movement happening right now in any company that's producing a COVID vaccine, because with the variants coming out, some are proving more effective than others at combating it. So those that are more effective are seeing appreciation in their stock price. Those that aren't, of course, are seeing their stocks take a hit. So mRNA's got that sort of double whammy, if you will.
Yeah, so mRNA doing very good, guys, this morning. Volume climbing nicely. Let's see where this goes today. SGOC, this is just garbage, guys. I mean, let's see what happened yesterday. So yesterday, you did get a crazy initial pop. Yes, I did not watch this. I know it was on our gappers list. And then it got halted here, and then the slam down. They didn't even go for a second halt, which is what you want to see on somewhat of a decent, strong stock. But does drop down here, and again, it's just, I don't see anything great on this. Daily is horrible. It is not a low flow stock, guys. It's sitting at 47 million, but it might as well be a low flow. It's trading like one. So again, I don't like it. I'm going to skip on it. TCAT here, 6.4 million shares float. The volume is just not there, guys. Sitting on the American Stock Exchange as well. I don't see anything great here, so we'll skip on that one. Had great volume yesterday, 33 million compared to what they regularly are doing here, but for the most part, their pre-market action right now is pretty crappy. AMC, I think AMC is worth watching, guys. I think AMC is going to be active for next couple of weeks or so as it continues to try to hold on to some level here, trying to stay above water. But we'll see. AMC here, we'll throw it on there. 1.9 million right now. They're up 4% at the moment, so nice day for them. Yes, a little bit of a bounce there. Let's see if that momentum can continue as they're up 4% this morning. We do have shares for short, and they are no longer in SSR. I believe they were in SSR yesterday, the day before, so that could help us get into that trade a little bit faster there if we decide to go short. Here, space again, just space. The hit that it has taken here, dropping below 44. Last couple of days, nothing but red. They're in the green now, up 3.2, 351,000 shares traded. We'll have to see. I think it's worth watching. I mean, it's just incredible what this thing is doing with positive stuff around their event. I just don't know why they continue to drop. SGOC we looked at already. Let's head on down. AA, what is AA? Alco Corp. I'm not sure what this is, but either way, it doesn't look good anyways. Yeah.
They had earnings. Like I think it was yesterday after the close.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, they don't normally trade well at all. So they posted better. Let's see. It looks like they posted better than expected results, but yeah, it's usually a tough trade.
Yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing on it, so we'll skip on this one. CCIV making the list just now. They are up 2.2. Couple of rough days for them here. Their daily is interesting. We're slamming up against this area of support, which we have a bit of a bounce here, up 2.2. Maybe a possible, guys. Doesn't look great pre-market right now. So let's throw it down as a possible for the moment. We'll come back and see how that looks. All right, so not a whole lot there. Let's take a look at our gapping down list. FGEN, it is down 35%, guys. So big drop for these guys. They're a horrible trading stock, as you can see here on the daily. They're not great, but today that kind of drop could be something here. Right now, pre-market action is all over the place with 610,000 shares traded. But since we have space today in our watch list, I think and not space actual ticker, space meaning room. I think we can add this one on here. They're down 34%. Let's see how this thing's going to play out this morning. The float on this is 84 million. So we'll see. They had a couple of gap downs before in the past, some big ones here, going back in March, again in April, and again now. So this thing is trying to get to zero as soon as possible, it looks like. But they are not doing well at all. So we'll see if this translates to any good trading.
Yeah, this could be their day. Well, not necessarily in a good way, but it could be the day to trade them if ever. So they had some bad news. They were working with AstraZeneca on a drug for chronic kidney disease, which is not going to be supported by the FDA. So basically, their drug got rejected, or their treatment got rejected, and therefore that's why the stock is taking this big hit.
Yeah, that is not good news if that's who you're in. Yeah, so let's see how this drop behaves. Again, normally if we have better stocks, we would not watch this one, but we have room today to watch something like this. Tau and EDU, I'm just not going to keep on my list, guys. They're just consolidating sideways here after dropping quite a bit in the last couple of months here. But again, I don't think it's anything for us to really trade. I don't like the way they trade. It's just not liking the way they move at all. Peter, anything you like on your end?
I think you've mentioned everything that I'm looking at. The only other thing that had earnings that I've mentioned is Ericsson, AERIC. It's a dual listed, so it doesn't normally trade well at all. Pre-market doesn't look good, but they missed their numbers. So if you're looking for a slow trend trade, that may be an opportunity, but it's not really looking that great.
This one
I
here
was wondering if you could bring up the Lizzie again, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're having a discussion here.
Is this the one you were talking about, though? This one, Eric? This one here?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
All right, let me just put this one on here, then I'll bring up Lizzie. Here we go.
So we're having a discussion about the float on this stock, and because the float's got all sorts of different numbers out there. Could you bring it up on the? For some reason, it didn't translate over to the.
Oh, here.
The TI.
Yep.
So often there is different numbers in what the float is. So this float is reporting 12.6 or million, whereas if you go to other sources like FinViz, it's reporting. I'll have to bring it up here. If it's going to do it for me. Anyway, somewhere around 30 million. 26 million there, and meanwhile DAS is reporting 37 million. So there's a number of reasons why there can be a discrepancy. I generally, you just want to understand the range the float is in. It isn't frankly significant whether there's 20 million or 30 million shares in the float. What is significant is when you get to a low float and you understand that the float turnover is going to be significant, that you really want to sort of pay different attention versus there's a billion shares. However, the discrepancy, I honestly can't tell you all of the reasons, but some of the reasons that it could happen, just for background, could be one, it could be timing and difference of reporting because the reporting sources come from different places. And why would the reporting be different? Well, companies issue and repeal, if you will, stock issuances all the time. It could be in a major secondary offering, for example. So if a company says, we're going to issue another 10 million shares of stock at X or Y price, they don't issue them right away, right? They might release them over time to the market. And how that reporting happens will then change the float values as the shares actually get released. On the other side, companies also do share buybacks, right? So we're going to buy back 10% of our float. Again, that happens over time, and the regulators don't always have the same reporting as to when that buybacks actually occurred. On a more drip feed basis, companies will issue shares through to their staff often, right, through options. And different options than what Jarad talks about. But when that happens in a company, there's basically a right for employees to buy shares at a certain price. And they have to reserve those, but when they hit the market depends on when the lockups release and when the employees actually choose to take advantage of that. So basically, there's a lot of moving parts that can relate to differences in reported share numbers, depending on how they pick up their data, how current it is, and what the company is giving them as information. So just be aware of that. I said, so those are some of the factors. There may be others I'm not aware of, but I saw a lot of angst about, my God, the numbers are all different. Generally, I usually just use a range. Under 5 million, between 5 and 20, 20 to 50, above 50, right? That's as generic or as granular as I bother with.
Yeah. Well, you can also do as well. I mean, look at the price action, right? You could tell this one, because the thing with the low flow stocks, guys, it's just riskier, right? They're a lot riskier. Look at this stock here. You're going from $5.60 to $7, right? There's a lot of risk involved when you have a stock that can do that in a matter of 10 minutes. So just keep that in mind. Even if the numbers sometimes don't match with what's going on here, be mindful that, I got to treat this with, white hand glove service here and be very careful, right? It can move quite a bit on you. Look at there. So it looks like it's trying to get up here over to the pre-market high. So that's looking decent this morning. We'll see where it goes. All right, let's start with our chat room. I saw SQ on here. Let's see what's going on. Right now, no volume, but there might be some news on BTC on this, someone mentioned. So I'll put it on here. We'll come back to it and see where it goes from there. Heading down, what else do we have, guys? Start with our chat here. We have Neo. We'll take a look at Baba as well. Neo this morning, I like Neo's daily. He's trying to hold on to this level here of support. He's been doing this for some time now, right on there over the last couple of days. Right now, pre-market action though, their volume is extremely light. You know, we're used to seeing Neo with heavy volume, you know, easily 700, 1.7 million in the pre-market. We're not seeing that now. So we'll see. Maybe a possible at best. Again, I don't think it really is in play. I'm really putting it down there just to come back to it and see if it gets any better. Here's Baba. I think Baba might consolidate now. I mean, we had a great drop followed by an amazing you know, push up here over the last couple of days. And now we had an indecision day yesterday. Today you don't have great volume right now, so I won't put this on my list. I think you just might be stuck into some consolidation here, deciding what is the next area. And this Baba likes this area because you can see here it spends a lot of time in this range, right? Right on there, right? So it does that there quite a bit. We'll see. We might be just going back into this range for a while. We'll have to see. But either way, I don't like the volume on it this morning. Nothing like we've seen in the last couple of days where it's really been in play. Here's INTC. INTC's daily, man. It's just, look at this, brutal. So it usually doesn't have a great daily. I don't think these guys are in play, man. I mean, they're just moving sideways. Rumors of potential acquisition of global foundries. Yeah, that could be something. Right now, I'm not seeing any volume though, so we'll have to wait for this one to hit the scanners, right? Take a look at NVIDIA this morning. NVIDIA is up slightly 0.5% at the moment. It took a little bit of a hit, but that's okay because, again, look at the run they had. So you expect a little bit of a pullback here. 140,000 for NVIDIA at this time is actually pretty good. This stock doesn't trade a whole lot of volume, so we'll definitely take a look at it here. We'll do some levels at least for it. Exla or Zila, however you want to call this one. I believe this is a low flow stock, right? 15 million shares traded right now. Let's see. Yes, 23.
I don't think
borderline.
so.
It's borderline. 23 million.
Yeah, I see again a discrepancy. I see 35 million in FinViz, so you know, in that range.
Yep. So be careful with this one right here, guys. 15 million. Let's see how it did yesterday. I took it off my list a couple of times here because we had better stocks within this price range that were trading a lot better. Pre-market right now, they're very active. Yesterday, what did it do yesterday? Not a whole lot there. You know, it could be good. Could be good. On short selling restriction. I'm going to add it to my risky pile, guys. Yeah, again, like you said, Peter, it might not be on the low flow here, but I'll add it here just because of the price and the way it can move. You want to be a little more cautious with this one. So we'll throw that one on there.
Yeah, I sort of like the look of XELA. They do have news this morning that they're releasing or their new feature, I guess, in their software platform that organizations and companies can now trade options. So they're adding option trading to their business platform. That's, I assume, what is giving it the pop. So.
All right. So again, just look at this pre-market action. Looks great, guys. Let's see. Let's see where this goes today. I definitely have it on here this morning. All right, let's see. We have Neo. We looked at AMC. We have DIDI. Let's take a look here. This one is, I mean, it always throws volume around every morning, but I don't find it a great intraday trading stock, right? So I'm not sure of it. I'm not sure if we had any success watching this one, but I'm gonna keep it off my list, guys. I just don't like the way this one moves. You do not have shares for short on it as well. Recent IPO, just kind of consolidating, moving sideways here. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it off for now.
Yeah, I've kept an eye on it since the IPO, but haven't found any trades in it. One from our friends on YouTube that I don't think you mentioned yet, Carlos, is Fubo, F-U-B-O. So on YouTube, give us the thumbs up, by the way. We thank you for being here and would appreciate any love you can send our way. Fubo actually has some news because they'd announced a little while ago that they were going to have a mobile sports network, sports book, I guess.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's old news. They're just announcement. They've got some market access contracts that they've put in place to actually enable that to occur. So I guess it's seen as good news. We're not seeing a huge jump, and then the pre-market action is pretty weak, but might be worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah. During that time, I remember that it was, I forgot, it was a while back, but it did get some good action and good pops, and it was a great trading stock. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Right now, pre-market is very light at 123. We'll see where this goes. All right, so we have Fubo. What else we have, guys? Let's head on down here.
I see
Space. We have Space. Yes, we have Space.
Somebody's meant PEP. I
PEP.
don't. Yeah, I'm just looking it up here. I don't know if
No.
I thought maybe they had earnings, but I'm not seeing anything particular. Pre-market is like there's nothing happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There's nothing going on with this one, and
the
even if
daily
they
looks
were, I
great.
mean, they're tough to trade, man. They're not an easy stock to day trade. So they're kind of like Coke as well. Coke is very difficult to trade. They don't get great volume, right? So if you get down here, if you look at their regular days, even on days like this one here, a few days ago, they only traded what, around 8 million shares. So again, it's just the lack of volume is tough to day trade these type of stocks, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this one, but right now, pre-market action. If news breaks out, we'll have to wait for this to hit the scanners. Right now, I don't see anything that looks great on this one.
Maybe one last one, Carlos.
Yeah.
We got another YouTube request. To take a look at Apple. Apple has been moving a lot the last couple of days. I played it yesterday trying to get a break over 150 when it was at all time. It set new all time high above 149.50, and it just couldn't
Right.
break that level. So I don't know. I keep thinking maybe today is the day. Like you just don't know with Apple, but it has been strong.
Yeah, it has been really strong, and it's a good one to watch anyway, guys, because again, they're pushing great volume every morning. Today's a little lighter than most mornings, though. If we've been looking at this over the last 2-3 weeks, I think straight, it's a good one just to keep on deck. Again, just be mindful that it just might move sideways. It is very extended towards the top side based on how strong it has been, so just be mindful of that there. Right, cool. It is 9 a.m., guys. We got to go to community announcements and events. We'll come back and fine tune this list.
All right, we can keep it short because we've been through the activities of the week, but it's been another great week. We led off by Thor on Tuesday with his How to Read Level 2, so that should be posted and available. I know it was hugely attended, and it was, once again, a fantastic session. It was one of the most requested topics, so if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, please do so. I think you'll find a lot of value in that. And then next week for our success webinars, we will have John, who's going to be talking about the probabilistic thinking in trading. So John's got a very sort of structured approach to his trading, and his sessions are always good and very practical advice you can use and apply. So that'll be next Tuesday, the 20th at 8 p.m. And then on our psychology webinar side, this week we had Mike talking about some overall tenets on proper psychology and trading. That was Wednesday, so 2 days ago. And that information should also, or that webinar should be posted if you aren't able to attend live. And then next week, Neda is back to talk to us about how to accept stress and understand how to deal with it. So again, we all know that this is an inherently stressful activity. When you put money at risk in the market, there's no question your stress will go up to some degree. How you manage it, though, is what's important. And Nada's going to give us some tips and tricks on how to manage that. So that's next Wednesday, July the 21st. I believe that's at 8 o'clock, which is the usual time for those webinars. It's cut off on our slide, so apologies for that. But that'll be next week at 8. Every day, we love to see the member trades of the day. We love when you guys share them. We've had some great trades. And I've got to say, the women of BBT have been killing it. They have been taking most of the prizes. So guys, we got to step up our game because a lot of our female traders are showing us what they can do. And they've had some absolutely stunning trades, like just amazing, mature trades that are fantastic to see. So let's get your trades in there on Twitter. Use the hashtags BBT family, hashtag day trading and stock market, and then tag at Bearable Traders, at Mike B_BBT, and at Norm BBT, because they will judge who is the winner of the day. And then all of us moderators get to vote on the trade of the week, which we pick from the trades of the day. So do that, and we'll let you know who had one of the best trades of the day. And if you want to join us, we'd love to have you as part of the room. If you're on YouTube, you get to see what the room's like pre-market with our analysis. You sort of get to see us at the open lately as we've been doing that. And if you'd like those open shows, then again, give us a thumbs up and join the channel, subscribe, and we'd love to sort of keep you updated on what's happening. But if you want to sort of be here all day, because we have live commentary, we're calling out trades, we're talking about strategy and theory, throughout the trading day from 7:30 in the morning when we open the room right through till 4 o'clock. Then use the code PREMARKET24 to get a trial of the room for 1 calendar week. And then you'll get access to our onboarding classes as well. And if you like that, then use the code Fireworks40. It's still there because with Andrew on vacation, we haven't pulled it down yet, even though it's set to expire. So take advantage of that while you can to get 40% off our elite membership. And with that, let's take a look at some levels.
Yes, let's take a look at some levels, guys, see what's going on here. But first, I want to answer a question by Darth Trader. One of our members has been on YouTube with us for some time. So he's asking us, how do we determine whether a stock is trading nicely or not? So great example here is Apple, guys, right? You've seen Apple. We've been looking at Apple for the last week. So we know Apple can trade very well. We've been looking at it because how strong it has been, but we've known Apple for forever and how it trades, right? So a lot of it comes from experience of just watching these stocks over and over again, right? So we know Apple can trade very well. It's doing that here. Very nice. Now we look something like, let's take a pick here. That could be a hit or a miss, something like this here, right? By looking at this daily, you already know this stock is challenging, right? You know this by a few things, right? It's moving sideways here. You don't have a great pattern like you do with Apple, unless here you have a little bit. But one of the key indicators that something doesn't trade very well is this right here, guys, the volume. When you have volume sitting under 5 million, 1.9 per day, and even on days where you're moving, you have this type of volume, this order flow is not going to be there. The great order flow that we're looking for as far as action is not going to be there. Now, on a day like this where FGEN is dropping down 36%, they have a catalyst, which is not a positive one. That can all change, right? This can actually trade a little bit better. But if I find something borderline, that's like, you're not gapping down, you don't have great news, you have a little bit of volume, but everything else looks crappy, then yeah, I'm gonna say this is not trading nice. This is not a good intraday trading stock, right? And in our education center, guys, we go into even more in depth of what we want to see on the daily, what we want to see on the pre-market action, the flow and all that. That all plays a part in deciding, what are we going to keep to watch or not. And one more thing also, guys, we could be wrong. This could be the best trading stock today, and we all can make an amazing amount of money, right? So things are not always a solid line saying, this is exactly what it could be. The market is, it's like that. It could change any single time. So we can be absolutely wrong, but we're going to go with the best case scenario based on everything we have done over the past that we see over and over and over again. If you look at the markets closely, guys, everything is repetitive, right? Just the tickers change here and there, but everything is just a repetition of what has happened in the past, and our job is to identify, this looks very similar to what happened on this situation, on that situation, and try to make the best trading out of that, right? So just keep that in mind there. All right, Peter, I think you're going to jump in. Yeah, please.
Yeah. Look, if I can give 4 practical things to look for, by the way, that when the stock's in play, this is best after the market opens, but you can apply some of it pre-market. 1, I don't want to see gaps in the candle. So FGen that's on the screen, look at just between 5:30 and 6:30. See how there's gaps in the candles, right? Between where they close and open the next minute. That shows me there's not smooth, not good price action. The second, I don't want to see candles that have consistent big wicks, tiny bodies, big wicks. It just means it's chopping around and a lot of uncertainty, right? That's a second thing that I don't want to see. Third, you can only really see it after the market opens, but sometimes pre-market you can see its order flow, right? Meaning when you look at a time and sales screen, I almost shouldn't be able to read it. It should be constantly scrolling, right? If it's constantly scrolling, that means I got orders. Because like Carlos is saying, sometimes you can get volume, but the volume might come in big chunks, or it comes in a block and then nothing, and then another block and then it stops. That's not good day trading volume. You want to see constant order flow because that gives you stuff to buy and sell into. And last but not least, when I look at it, I always look at the spread. The spread has got to be good in relation to the price of the stock. Meaning if it's a stock under $50, I definitely don't want to see a spread over 5 to 10 cents maximum on a high risk one. If it's several $100s, maybe I can accept a 20 or 30 cent spread. But if I've got a 30 cent spread on a 5 cent stock, I don't care what it's doing, I'm not trading it.
Yep.
So those are 4 things I look for.
Absolutely, guys. So you just got 4 things from Peter here, free over on YouTube. So make sure you hit that thumbs up, because he just gave you some of our classes material there, just a little piece. So hit that thumbs up for Peter for doing that. We highly appreciate your support over on YouTube. All right, guys, let's get to it. So let's start here with mRNA this morning. Again, I think these guys are definitely in play, guys. They're up 7% with some good volume and news, right? So that is all looking good for them. High of the pre-market looking at 285 this morning, even Towards the bottom, we have 276.20, so we'll slam that down right on there. Let's get over to the left here. This all-time highs on mRNA? It is. They're doing it in some pretty nice fashion this morning, gapping up. Yeah, it is all-time highs. Perfect. All right, so all-time high here, guys. We do not have anything here between 276 and 260. What is this? 61 or so. What we can do, no, I did not mean to put that there. Let's get rid of this level here. Boom. What we can do is let's go. Yeah, we don't have anything because what we did yesterday, last night, we really just gapped here, like, well, not gap, but pushed up about 20 bucks. So you don't have no data here at all. So we'll mark the pre-market low here because it's the only thing, or this low here of the after hours, right? It's the only thing that we really have, 272.89. And then here, guys, if we get down here, just look out for the whole dollar numbers, right? That's going to be important because nobody else has any other record of any type of daily level within this area, okay? So just keep that in mind there. So that's all we have here at mRNA, guys, looking really strong this morning, up 7.3. Let's see where this is going to take us today, hitting that all-time high at 285. Here is AMC. AMC this morning getting a little bit of a bounce after yesterday gapping down and making it to the green. This morning they are up 5.4. Pre-market highs all the way up at 38.96, so we'll slam a level there. And then towards the bottom, guys, you got the low of the pre-market. I'm going to mark this one here. I know the low of the pre-market is right here at 37, but I like this one better, 37.14. Here's where a lot of the action has happened. Here's where we tested it recently and it bounced back up, so this is going to be important. And again, you can always mark this one here, 37, that's fine, but this one is worth having on the list as well. So that is what we have for AMC, guys. Let's see where this is going to go. Volume is great on it, 2.9. Again, we'll see. Are we going to find some support here, or we're just in the beginning or in the continuation of this nice downtrend to head further towards some lower levels? So we'll see what happens with AMC. Towards the top, if we're able to push higher, we do have 42.10 right on there, so we'll slam that down. And then slightly above this, we do have 46.46. Now, guys, we know AMC, how aggressive it can be with their pullbacks or push-ups or squeezes, right? So if you're in this trade, be careful of your share sizing, right? It's not trading like it was in the beginning of June, where you had some insane pops. It's a little bit more calm now, but it still has that DNA where this thing can squeeze any minute, $1.50 just like that. So please be very careful, be mindful of that. And if you find yourself in the wrong side of this trade, this is not one where you want to sit and wait to see what happens. Let's see if it comes back to break even. Let's see if I can make this trade green. Let's add to this position to bring my average up or down. Don't do that, right? Not on that one, please. It'll be brutal. We'll leave. We have space. Space this morning up 3.8, 728,000. I did mark this 35.61 right on here. Good level of support that we have across the board here going back into last month, so that's good. And then towards the bottom here, we're stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. Our pre-market high is at 33.15, so that is marked there. And then we're slamming up against a previous area of great resistance. You can see that here. We're not able to get above this previous day close, which is around 31.74 for quite some time, and now that is acting as support this morning and yesterday. So let's see where that goes there. The pre-market low is actually a little bit higher. We can go ahead and mark that down here around 32.02. Our previous day closed around 31.74. So that is space. We'll see where it goes here. Volume is great on it. Yesterday, let's see, yesterday, how did it trade yesterday? It's a little bit all over the place yesterday, but we'll see. We'll see what it does today. Here's NVIDIA, guys. Again, NVIDIA's a good one. I don't like to trade NVIDIA. I'm just not. The few times I touch this stock, I lose money. It is in play today. I'm going to bring it down to a possible, so you can also make decisions based on how you trade a stock. Some stocks are just not, are great. For example, SQ is another one. I don't think if I run my report, I don't think I ever made money on SQ. So I don't touch it, right? It's just one of those stocks that moves a little bit different. NVIDIA's in that same boat. They just trade a little bit different. I don't know what it is about them. And SQ's been like that even when it was like at $80, right? When it was at $80, $60, it was a stock that I never was able to trade well. And then you have Brian just completely crushing it every time he touches it, and others in the community as well. So you also have a history of how you trade a stock. Be mindful of that as well. Fubo here this morning, they are up 6.3. I think this looks decent. Let's put some levels on here. Pre-market high right now, 27.55. So we'll slam a level there. Above that, we do have an area of resistance right around 29.59, right? So daily's not all that clean here, but you got some level here of resistance, especially in the last couple of weeks here, right on there, 29.59. So we'll slam a level there. And then towards the bottom, guys, I think you have plenty highs and lows over the last two trading days. So that's good there. And then we have Apple here this morning. Apple, let's see, our all-time high is at 150, but we're testing 149.02 this morning so far, and that's all you need to add, just the pre-market high right there. The rest is you're pretty much stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days, being yesterday the all-time highs over at 150. So pretty good stuff in Apple. We might just consolidate today. Let's see how we do this Friday. Volume is a little bit lighter than it was before. Maybe some buyers are regrouping here to try to test that 150, but we are definitely very, very extended. So just be mindful if you're looking to get in for that break of 150. It might just not happen today, so just be mindful of that. With that said, I think we are all set, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I couldn't even get 6 this morning, but that's okay. We have Nvidia here as a possible. We have Neo. Their volume is extremely light. I don't think they're really in play. We have CCIV here, which also I don't think they're really in play. We have here just to see what happens. FGen, this one here, we have it just because the drop, guys. And this big drop this morning. Volume is okay, but for the most part, I'm concerned with how this is going to trade. It might just be very choppy. We have Eric here. They also have a nice big drop similar to FGen. Just kind of see what's going on there. This one is also a stock that does not trade very well. This does not trade nice, Darth Trader. This is horrible. Look at this. Gapping all over the place. Volume is extremely horrible, just quiet here. This is not a great intraday trading stock. Only have it here because they're dropping big, you know, and we have the space, right? We don't have a lot that we can watch this morning. And here's SQ. I'm not going to add it to my main list because, again, I just don't think I don't trade this very well. And really, I don't think it's in play right now. I know we mentioned there might be some news on this. We'll have to wait for this to hit the scanner. So I'm going to delete it here. I'm going to have a very tight list this morning. All right, let's take a look at our low flows or riskier type stocks, right? Because Zila is not a low flow. It's above 20 million. We consider low flows under 20 million. So this one's slightly above that. This one actually looks good. Got a great pre-market action. Volume is there. Short selling restriction. But we do have shares for short. This is looking okay. As far as levels, we actually don't have time for more levels here. But as far as levels, you're kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. And then here you might want to mark down 434 or so. We'll slam a level there, and I think you're pretty much set as far as that. Enrin is looking okay, selling down here, got great volume, but again, just be careful with this one. It'll be fun to watch either way. We do have shares for short on it. And then here's Lissi. I think between Lissi and Zila, I think those two are looking pretty decent. Zila being the best one this morning. So we'll see. We'll keep them on here. I'll fine tune them a little bit later as we move forward in the pre-market show. All right, guys, that is what we have. Guys, over on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if it's your first time here. We are live every Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. with Jarad engineering the markets, followed by Norm, myself, or Peter when he's covering for either one of us, which we appreciate very, very much. Peter, I'm telling you, man, you are like the sixth man that just comes in and crushes it, because we call Peter last minute. We have an emergency, Peter. You know, take off the shorts, the trunks, whatever they call it, the tear offs, and come on in. And he does an amazing job at doing that. So thank you, Peter, for always hopping in last minute and taking care of things. With that said, I got a great email yesterday from a member who just joined, and he always tells us, you guys are going pretty fast in the pre-market. So just be mindful that it will get easier, guys. As you're joining us every morning, you'll get the process. It's very repetitive if you think about it. We're doing the same thing over and over again and learning, as we move forward. You'll know where we're doing our levels, and you'll know what's coming up next. So it'll make sense as we're... Peter, what are you doing, man?
People are commenting on my shorts. I'm like, why would I cover up my shorts?
Can we see that again?
I got some nice like golfer shorts on again today. Look at that. I'm ready for the golf course. And my trade ideas shirt. So
yes, very nice, very nice. Let's give Peter a big thumbs up, guys. It is Friday. Yes, Hector. See, Hector's paying attention. He's been around for a while, and he knows that we missed something, right? He's calling it out here. So Hector's calling out the moderators lineup. Let's do that right now. Let's bring that in. Okay, here's the moderators lineup, guys. Let's start with Peter. A lot of IPOs this morning. Wow, look at that there. I'm not going to read those out, but tons of IPOs for Friday and a couple of SPACs as well. Man, I never seen that much.
Busy Friday.
Yeah, yep. All right, Thor, not so awesome list, but some stuff moving. Watching Apple, SPY, AMC, DKNG, and NEO. Mike is looking at mRNA, NVIDIA, Apple. Tiffany's looking at mRNA, AMC, and NVIDIA. We have Eamon looking at Guild, our Roblox, secondary list, X, Disca, and Apple. Most probably not taking trades today. Nothing looks good, right? See how important that is? He's being very careful on what trade he's going to take today. Jared, shout out to the shorts. Thank you for the $5 donation. Give a
Thanks,
shout
Jared.
out to Peter Short. Really appreciate you for doing that. It's hilarious. Thank you, man. All right. By the way, for those that don't know on YouTube, Jared is a moderator, so he hops in here just to make fun of us once in a while. Dima, watch list, Neo, Space, Apple, and Fubo. And then Jared's looking at the BTC stocks nearing 30K yet on the pre-market. Riot and Mara are on deck for that. He also has AMC here, which has, again, been very, very active. Peter's list, your list, you have AMD, Apple, mRNA, secondary list, Emrin, Zila, Fubu, and AMC this morning. And Brian is looking at Neospace, Fubu, AMC, SGOC, Lissy, and Peter's short. Love it.
I tell you what, the pressure was on Norm to do a dance with donations on YouTube for $10. I'll do the Carlton dance in my little shorts for you. So, I'm
Guys,
cheap. But not easy.
We are going live with Brian and Thor. Let's hit a thumbs up, guys. How many likes do we have? I can't see it when I don't have it set up to see how many likes we have. But if we can get 50 or 75 extra more likes, I'll really appreciate it as we move to go live here this morning. Also, I am off next week, guys. Next week I am off, so Thor, Norm, and Peter will be helping covering next week. So definitely enjoy yourself. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you guys when I get back. I'll be around in the chat here and there, but definitely we'll miss you guys. I love this free market show. Love preparing in the morning. So definitely a difference when I don't prepare with you guys. So again, have an amazing time, guys, over on YouTube. Brian and Thor are up next.
So two things before we go then, Carlos, and I know we're running a little late.
Yeah.
One, a good question on YouTube. Why do I love AMD so much? I always say there's a couple of reasons. You're right. It's not always in play, but I'm so familiar with it. I feel comfortable. So that could be an artificial view as to how it moves, but I'm comfortable with it, and that can often lead to confidence in my trades. That's important. Secondly, AMD has almost always a 1 cent spread when the market opens. I love that it's got a tight spread that I can rely on. Third, it seems to obey the patterns that I look for very well. So it constantly sets up the patterns. And when it sets up, I've got a high degree of probability that it's actually going to work. Unlike meme stocks or some other stocks that don't always, the patterns will fail more frequently. And last but not least, I like AMD because it's consistent volume, right? You can see that volume and price action is just consistent all day. So, no matter what time of day, I've got orders that are happening that I can always take advantage of. The second thing that I just have to mention is Harry took me up on my offer, so I got to do it. So we'll do the Carlton dance here, as I've got my fancy shorts going on for you guys. All right. Yay!
It
all right.
is Friday.
There you go.
Guys, thank you so much over on YouTube. Stick around. Thor and Brian are up next. Thor, good morning. How are you doing, my friend? I see you online already.
I'm amazing. I'm just watching the pre-market show right now, just having a great time.
Love it.
For me personally, I believe those are the shorts that only a smooth operator would be wearing. And if you guys weren't in the afternoon session yesterday with Peter, you may not know what I'm talking about when I mention a smooth operator. But Peter has been known as a smooth operator since, I believe, around 94, and it is apparent that has not changed a single bit. So, thank you.
Always smooth as glass, baby.
It's in print. I mean, it's a newspaper article. I've seen it.
Yeah,
personally.
That's right.
Dude, this isn't fake news. This is the real thing.
Yeah. It's the real deal. Guys, take care. I see Brian is on as well. Have an amazing trading days. I will see you guys. Have a great weekend over on YouTube, and we'll continue in our chat room here, so stay tuned. Take care, guys.
Oh, wow. Having way too much fun on a Friday.
Oh my gosh, that picture of him from the news article. You got to see that picture of him with the news article, Brian. He's got like he's got full hair and everything. It's just amazing.
Cool. All right. On to business. We got just about 6 minutes left to the open. And there's a couple good points this morning about, so there are people that just focus on one or two stocks, and there's nothing wrong with that. You get to know them. Each stock has a bit of a personality, like AMD, and you just get to know it, and you kind of get a feel for how it trades. And
I know a couple people that stick to sectors as well. Like,
Yeah.
they'll only trade like tech stocks, or they only trade bank stuff or something like that.
Sure. And then the other one, of course, is, if you don't see anything you like, don't trade. There's always a temptation to do that. So
That is the hard job right there.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing I think for any trader to do is nothing.
That's it. Exactly.
Hey guys, am I still on the mic?
You are.
Sounds
Hello.
like it.
Hey, we've been working on some stuff on the back end. Can somebody give me a ping? Ping my name. I just want to see. No, there you go. We got a few. All right, so it's working. So guys, when you ping somebody's name, you actually have to click their name for it to work. If you just type my name, for whatever reason, it won't actually ping you. So it's got to use the name, because I'm getting the ones in green. Those are the ones that are working. If it's not showing up in green, it's not working. But we've modified the room now, so even with it on mute, you can hear those pings. Okay, guys, we're good now.
All right. Thanks for the pings.
Enough ping. Exactly. I just wanted you to know then. So Thor, and careful what you wish for, right? Thor and Brian, hopefully now you should be able to hear when people ping you with a direct message, because I know it's problematic in the morning. It's tough for you to know what's going on. So there you go.
All right.
Loud noises.
Yeah. I feel like the
Awesome.
Hunchback
I'm
of
super
Notre Dame.
focused this morning. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
This will be just great.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I've already
volume
traded.
spike.
Yeah, I saw
everywhere.
that. Yeah, right on
Apple
the Qs
got
and
hit really
Apple.
hard with
Yeah,
it. SPY.
yeah. SPY had a big spike. What the heck was that?
I think it was everybody pinging Peter's name in chat. Spiked the entire market. It's like the rocket emoji.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's try to figure out here what's going to happen. So Fubo's gapping up on some news about gaming. AMC kind of looks interesting, but as Jarad pointed out, it is an options expiry day, so just got to be careful about that. Neo's dropping, Space is coming up. I already traded Seagok once. Lizzie is not looking that interesting.
Really weird this morning.
Is there? Yeah, I haven't noticed that.
It keeps like moving from like 3 cents or 4 cents to like 16 cents. It's been having like these really weird spreads in the pre-market, especially once you get down around like 32.80. It starts to really drop off. It looks a little tighter now, but man, a lot of volume came in on Apple there. Is there like a news-ish thing on Apple? 2-minute warning, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching, I think, I threw my list up there. I'm going to keep an eye on Apple. I'm actually might be watching Carnival Cruise Lines as well. I heard they might be starting to sail out of Canada actually soon. So maybe we'll see something going on there.
Yeah, not until November, but apparently there could be some little bit of action in the. It was mostly Royal Caribbean and Norwegian that had the that was in the news about the Canadian sailings.
All right. A
Neo's
little under a minute
dropping.
to go here.
Seagawk is really breaking out here. I'm watching Seagawk primarily at the open, maybe Neo, maybe and Fubo. It's kind of where I'm going to focus here on where things are going. I think this Seagawk's going through 14. We have 15 seconds to the open. SGOG. Keep saying Seagawk for some reason. SGOG. Let's call it the Gawk. The Glock. Okay, here we go. We're open.
All right, we are open.
So just watching the Glock. They're taking the long here through 14. Just a bit nervous about it.
Long a little Apple just on at 148.65. That was a real strong push.
Just taking some off here, 14.30.
Partial. Pre-market break had to do that. We'll see if it stuffs here. If it stuffs, I'll go out at break even and then start to look at it maybe for the other direction. But I really like that pop on volume, so I'm going to roll with it. Yeah, there we go. Partial Apple.
Still long the Glock. It took a little more off there. 14.30 just seems to be holding here. And out of it, I'm a little bit worried it's going to flush here. So Neo's popping back
Partial
up.
Apple. Yeah.
Nice one.
Old pre-market breakout. I love that. All right, if we hold here, we're going for 150. Let's do this.
Just going to short some FGen as well here because it seems to be dropping. $14.70. Let's see if we can get another flush here. We'll cover some here. Might come back up to the VWAP. Yeah, that was what I was worried about, the Glock. It really dropped after that. Wow, NCLH is dropping. Still holding some FGen just to see if we can get another flush here.
Apple's coming back to test VWAP here. We'll see if it holds 149.
Let's cover some more. Covering some more FGen here. What, 1440, 1442 filled.
All right, looks like the room, looks like about 70% of the room think Apple wants 150 today.
Fubo's popping out here. I'll stop out back at break even if FGen starts to pop back up. Oh, Neo bounced back. Yeah, Fubo looks like Fubo wants to go through 28 here. Got long some Fubo. and get that 28 pop here. Here we go. It's trying. Come on. Don't do that. It's stalling out.
Next
Fubo's
target's,
stalling out
there it
right
is.
at this
Partial.
this this R2 level. It's where we're stalling right now.
Partial at R4. Yeah, boy. What a rip.
Stopped out at FGen for the rest of it. Yeah, Apple's really making a nice move here. 49.76. Just out of Fubo, out of the rest of it. Doesn't look, it looks kind of stuck here.
That's a good point, Lou. Lou's making a good point right now, which is if you're looking at the large or like I filter out my time and sales on Apple using large orders. So I have one tape that's only showing like $1,000 or bigger on the orders. And you notice like a lot of the 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 lots, they're coming through with 4 and 5 decimal places, right? Which really lets you know that the computers are really helping this one move. So the market makers are really trying to help this one run for 150. I bet they want to do those transactions at 150 for sure. There's so much supply up there. They want to do it. But can the market make it? I don't know.
There's probably a lot of options. There's probably a lot of options interest around that 150 as well, is what I'm guessing. They're going to try to push it there. Oh, there goes Space. Space is dropping.
I did a short in pre-market on Space. And then I wussed out of it for only like before the open, like literally 2 minutes before the open, I cut it because it was too tight to my entry. I didn't want to hold it into the open. And then the thing immediately dropped to 32.50 afterwards. And I was just like, that's why I don't trade pre-market. It never does what I want when I want it to.
Yeah, I know you can't. I'm kind of getting a sense a little bit more on these low floats in the pre-market.
Yeah. Well, the order flow is so much better on those in the pre-market, I think. Maybe because of the small float, or and they're often on like really extreme catalyst at that point,
Yeah.
So they're like basically trading open. So that might be something to actually look at to see how it measures up in pre-market. But that might actually be a place for these lower floats.
Yeah. I just got short some Space on that pop. All right, here we go. Nice. I'll take that. Covering some at 20. See if we can get through 32 now. I hate the way Space trades. It just snaps back.
As I told you, the L2 on it's ugly right now. It's got gaps all over the place in its price action. Yeah. So it just has these weird, spontaneous rips in one direction or another.
Out of it. Yeah, I'm out of the rest of it. Just seems like it's because it's so heavily shorted. It's got this. It's got some pretty funky price action for sure. See, look at it squeeze now.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Geez, I've avoided 2 disasters so far with the Glock and Space. Managed to make some money.
You always want to avoid a disaster with a Glock, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Pow pow.
Well, I should have taken it long. Holy cow. Big pop on Space.
I mean, you got high spread and then kind of a, to the top side, big squeeze potential. The thing just rips when it breaks. I mean, it was rallying in the pre-market. It had
Yeah, it's
something
right
going
back
on.
up to. Yeah, it's right back up to pre-market high right now.
All right,
Buy,
Apple,
sell.
going for 150. Time to be a part of history. Let's go. L2 looks bullish. Come on now.
Yeah.
It keeps getting stuffed at R4.
Yeah, and it's sort of putting in a bit of a double top here. Let's see if it can keep going.
No major volume spike, so I'm still feeling it, but it's struggling, unfortunately. Everybody knows all those orders are at 150 and it's going to have trouble getting through it. So and everyone's just taking profit at the daily level ahead of it. It's just making it struggle even more. Hopefully it doesn't force a slam. Just blast this thing out and it drops for a few bucks.
NCLH was a nice short.
I'm trying a little ad on this pullback to VWAP and pre-market high on Apple. See if we can roll this up. If it comes through and loses VWAP, I'm out. Done.
SPY is dropping a bit here.
That was bad timing.
Yeah. Like I said, it looked like a bit of a double top on Apple, so might do a more significant pullback.
Yep.
So let's see what happens here.
Went ahead and cut the rest of my position there. Good. Done. That's my day. That was a beautiful rip. I blew out my goal really well with that. So we're just going to take that and be happy. All right. See if we can get into some trouble.
What's AMC doing? Just trying to figure out if there's what else to play here. It's turned into a Friday, typical Friday here. Neo's dropping a bit here. Excuse me. Yeah, AMC may be putting in a bit of a bottom here. It's back at the VWAP anyway. IWM showing up on the scanner. Intel popping up. Microsoft, of course, is ripping again. And Neo popped back up nicely there. And thought about that one, but no bueno, as they say.
No bueno.
No bueno.
All right, now
no
I'm just
trade.
sitting back and kind of watching to see if anything sets up. Space ended up being a short after all. It just like, if you want to see what Brian's talking about when he speaks about like how the highly leveraged short stocks can just squeeze out of range just for like basically no reason and then come back down. Space is a beautiful example of that.
He was short in it. I was looking short in it in pre-market, but he took it short. Got a couple grabs down near 32.20, and then the thing goes from 32.20 to 33.20 in 2 minutes, and then now it's all the way back down at 32.20. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes very, very difficult to trade some of these. But if space can lose 32.20, that looks pretty significant.
Yeah. Well, you've got yesterday's close, which was 31.77 ish, 31.80. Let's see here, what's going on. AMC. I'm watching AMC. It looks like it's going to try to get through the VWAP here.
All right, I'm short Apple. At VWAP, just under pre-market high. If it squeezes back up into VWAP, I will stop out at break even. But I like the way it was holding underneath that level. Bid just pulled, so watch out on Apple. It might squeeze now and go up. There was a heavy bid sitting at like 148.70, and as soon as we got to like 149.10, they pulled. Let's see if they come back on if we drop back down, but I don't like that. Someone's playing games.
The usual, right?
There we go.
Yeah, AMC rejected from the VWAP. Space did end up, after that big squeeze, ended up dropping anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big old squeeze.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything I'm really crazy about. Fubo is just chopping around here. If you look at the 2-minute candles, the wicks, they're just, those wicks are pretty ugly. Just direct, kind of, when you get a candle with a very small body and a large wick, that's not the kind of trade you want to be trading, because it's just moving a lot even within that one candle. Moving one direction, pulling back to where it started. That's all the moving averages are all coming together too.
I don't know what that was going on with Microsoft there. Really big wick for almost a 25-cent wick on that thing. One thing with Microsoft, and it's one of the things that keeps me away from trading it a lot of the times, is you get a lot of zeros on the order book. So it's just small quantity orders. And if there's like a big sell that happens, it basically blasts out 25 cents of the order book if someone throws too big of an order. And on the, I don't really see where the large order would be. I'm looking at somewhere near the daily level, but I didn't when I refreshed, but someone had to have tried to drop some shares, or maybe they tried to cover a short or something, and then it just ended up wicking down. Really weird. Got a bad fill.
Wow.
Anyway.
So anybody trading Neo, that's been a bit of a short.
Yeah, it has. Neo is a beautiful R3 short.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's
You get that easy? Nice.
that's always easy to nice guys.
Nice. Look at you all. Good, good, good.
Ah, jeez.
VWAP cross. Love it. Yeah. Anybody get that? And it's like, oh, the entire room took it while we weren't paying attention.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Why weren't you pinging us? What's the matter with you?
They're probably calling, Thor, look at Neo. Look at Neo. And I wasn't even paying attention.
Okay. So yeah, focused on the trade, Manny. Yeah, for sure. I'm just going through some of the other trades here. I'm not seeing anything. Like I said, everything's kind of space has gone red on the day. Neo keeps dropping. Fubo looks like it's gonna roll over here. It's gonna drop. So I just don't like to chase things after they've moved. Wait for some pullback. That FGen kind of squeezed me out just on that pop up. Now it's down under 14.
Be right back.
Okay. Apple looks kind of interesting here. It's it's using the 9 moving average on the 2-minute chart as resistance now. It's a really hard stock to short. I wouldn't trust that. So things have really started to go from green to red on the screen here. Yeah, exactly. We may get some at some point. We may get a bounce back. But right now, the SPY is looking like it's going to actually go red on the day.
Mm.
It's funny, the IWM small caps are the one, is the index that's up the most today. Apple's right back into an area where there should be a fair amount of support. Actually, I just lost that area.
Mm-hmm.
I see that.
Yeah, we have some big bids coming out at 148.50 and a little lower. So hopefully that'll attract the price. That's previous day's close and the open price.
Yeah, that 149 was an area where it spent a lot of time in the pre-market. You could see it kind of trying to hold on there for a couple of candles before it lost it.
mRNA is ripping. Yeah, mRNA finally broke. It was consolidating for a really long time, almost 20 minutes. It finally is trying to break out. I'll admit I'd like a little more volume on that breakout.
Just got along a little bit of space here just to see if we get a squeeze back. 31.77. See what happens here.
Space squeeze.
Well, we'll see. I'm a real tight stop on this, guys. If it loses that 31.70, I'll be out of it. I can see if we can squeeze it back up over 32. Get a squeeze over 32 here. There we go. All right, sold some 32.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's pre-market low at 32. So you're going to come back into the pre-market range if you can get above 32. That could be good.
Yeah,
start squeezing again.
Yeah, I'm 3/4 of the way out of it right now. So it's just we're right up against the 9 moving average. 32. What is 32.40 is VWAP. I don't know if we're going to get there. 32.30 is an area I'd probably take some off. All right. Gary, way to go, guys. Okay. Well, we know where we're going to stop out here. Back at break even.
Mm-hmm. I cut my Apple position at break even there at 149 or a little over 149, like 149.10 when we came back through. I might get back into it if it holds here and makes a new low, but that was a little meh. Might just be tying up our liquidity in Apple for no reason while other stuff's moving around. So it might just be time to just look for greener pastures for a few minutes. We could be choppy on Apple today.
We might be getting a bit of a bounce here on the indexes. Come on, Space, squeeze some more.
It looks good.
It looks like it's going to... the longer it stays here, the more the nervous I get about it.
Sure.
I'm out of it. I don't like the way it stayed there too long. 31.85. So still profitable trade. Nice little bounce off the previous day close. It might bounce. I just didn't feel like I had a good edge on that one after it stayed there too long. It couldn't push past 32. When we got to the end of that 2-minute candle. I might hold here. Might be putting in a bit of a double bottom.
The SPY did not throw very much volume at this daily level when it just bottomed, which just it kind of makes me think the market's not done selling off a bit. Q's just made a new low as well. So anyone trading tech especially, just keep that in mind that we might continue weekly for a moment.
Yeah. AMC might
It's trying to
right
bottom.
at we're right at yesterday's low or at yesterday's close here as well. So,
man, I think Neo is going to be my Romo short R3. It's almost all the way to S3 right now. Just a beautiful little traverse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look. I would wait for the 920 cross and a new 5-minute high for the entry signal on it. But I mean, I do like the volume spike on X. I really like the level it's at. If you look on the weekly, this is a pretty significant 2250 is a pretty significant weekly level going back to, into June. So I definitely think if it's gonna hold, this would be the place for it to try and do it. I like the volume. So if you get the nice cross, the 20 cross with the new 5-minute high, it might work. But and I was gonna announce, Chris, good point. Only if the SPY, if the SPY really goes with it too, maybe. But you make sure the SPY is bottomed out.
Yeah, Space is going to go lower, I think. We'll see what it does here when it gets to S2. If it gets there, might be a false breakdown. Fubo's kind of dropping. Neo's dropping some more. There goes Neo down to S3. If you're looking for a possible long off S3.
Looking to Romo.
Yeah, it's 43 on that one. Yeah,
That was the
Neo. I remember
move, man.
Neo. I remember earlier in the week Neo was good, but it was good in the opposite direction. Was that yesterday or
Yeah.
Wednesday? Yeah, everyone was playing it to the upside. Just watching space here just to see what it does.
SPY is putting in a double bottoming pattern right now for sure. It would be nice if there was more volume here to kind of show that we're really into a high value area, which would give us much more confidence in it. But I mean, the pattern itself looks very stout. Yeah, Toaster Goes, I might actually be done, man. I got my big move out of Apple. It's just chopping now, so I don't think I'm going to throw more money at it. So I'm not sure what. That just might be my Friday.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
Vince.
might not be, unless I find something I really like here. It's there isn't just a whole lot of chop going on. Fubo's losing it. It's hard to chase that now. FGen, I know, kind of shook. That was that pop back to the VWAP. I should have reshorted it at the VWAP is what I should have done. I made some money on it, but it just came back, squeezed back up, and then right back to the VWAP, and that was the rising devil part of the trade, and then and then it just started to sell off from there. I do recall looking at it at one point and thinking the spread on it was getting kind of ugly. Here comes another squeeze on space. Wow, Tal was a nice opening range breakdown too. Yeah. The NEG is showing up on the scanner here. What's GLG doing? I looked at GLG in the pre-market. It didn't look very interesting. Yeah, look at that. EMC went right off squeezed right off previous day close. NA's going to get halted here. It's just jumping all over the place though. Wow, no love for Neo. Spaces is back in the green.
I'm keeping an eye on it. It absorbed that bid, but there's still liquidity below it. So, and it absorbed the bid and it spiked in volume, but it wasn't an extreme amount. But, you know, it might be enough to bounce this thing. So if we can make a new high here, I might be interested in Neo for a long still. But the liquidity below is interesting. Neo kind of has like a dead man's level here at like 4270, 4268. If it loses that level, I mean, it's basically a descending triangle on the daily. So it could get pretty aggressive.
Nice. Yeah, NA's going. Look at her go. She's going to get halted. I did take a small trade on that when it did that little pullback for 29.50. Okay, I'm out of it now. It's a little bit scary. Qs are continuing to sell off here. Huh. AMC is squeezing. It's probably going to go back to the View app. Oh, geez, look at NA going now. It's just
MNRA is just gone.
Yeah. This NA just jumps all over the place. God, it was up, was it about a week ago? It was up around, it was high $80. The float on it, what is it like? I think it's like 6 million, isn't it? No, it's 11. Yeah, it's really hard to trade that. Just no love for the Glock, that's for sure. For Gawk. No love for Lizzie. Everybody's throwing their money in the egg. 3 million in revenue, I know. So what does that make the market cap right now? 11 million float. $32 a share. I never don't try to rationalize this. This was the one that was doing customized computers or something. In China, this like that was, I guess maybe that's a novel thing. I don't know. Neo's down at yesterday's close, or yesterday's low, I should say. Wow, it is not.
Yeah, this is that drop off. It's coming down to that drop off I was talking about.
Yeah,
it's on the weekly too.
Yeah, it hardly even held that S3 level. It just blew through it.
Yeah, Neo was the short today.
Yeah. It was a long earlier in the week, and then it was a short today.
The L2 on Neo, extremely bearish still. So I actually think Neo's, I mean, it's going into a very sketchy weekly range. If it doesn't buy up out of here soon, we could see a pretty good free fall on Neo today. Large candles on Neo's big sell-off days can easily be $8. So that would mean we're only about $2 into Neo's ATR today. So, there still could be plenty of downside on this thing, and the level 2 certainly supports that. Hey, Luis, off of YouTube. Apple is chopping a lot the last 2 days, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Apple wants to get through these big sellers at 150, but that's not going to be done easily. So I think it's going to take a couple of accumulation cycles to get through.
I'm going to take a bit of a long on space here, just because it seems like it's double bottoming on this previous day low. See if we can get another squeeze out of it. Well, it's heading the right direction.
Everything else is dropping, and it's staying in spot. So that alone could be an indicator.
I'm not overly confident on this trade. Again, it's 31.40. I'll stop out. Yeah, like you said, I'm kind of trading I'm trading against the direction that everything else seems to be going. mRNA popping on 920 trade on mRNA. All right, I'm going to take sell some space here at 3160, 3159 filled. Yeah, well, the mRNA is back to the 9 moving average. It's kind of using that right now, but it could be, like I said, the move on mRNA could be done for the day right now. Just getting ready to pull the trigger on the rest of space if it starts to drop here. SPY is still selling off. The Qs are selling off again. See if we can get to 3170 on space. Again, it's taken too long, so I'm just going to bail on it here. bail sort of flat on the rest. A few cents slippage. Yeah, I just don't like the direction the markets are going. So
Should have done more shorting. That's the thing.
yeah, that was the thing after we got kind of through that initial chop.
I was looking at it when we
mRNAs.
were looking at the open, especially SPY, and it kind of did it similarly that it did to yesterday before it sold off quite a bit yesterday and then bought up. But it spent the whole pre-market just rallying and like squeezing on just like really low volume, and it just kind of represents it, a little stronger than you went. But if you look at we were opening just above R4 on the SPY and then failed it, which is pretty extreme reversal indicator for the pivot strategy. So it's wish I had have shorted that there because it's still going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and egg is a place to be. It's crazy. Geez, I was in at that 29.50 level. Now I'm regretting not holding some. Wow, big wick, big candle on this 2 minute. What have we got here? I don't see. It's kind of weird. I don't see any. Oh, we're at 36.80 for where we might get a halt. All right. Yeah. No, I can. No. Well, mRNA didn't quite get to the 20 on the 2 minute chart, but came down to an R1 level anyway. Diamond hands, yeah. That's what I needed on NEG. There was a big volume candle on that last push, so we should get a pullback here, I would think.
I trying a little mRNA long at 284. It came back to R1 tested and recrossed the averages, so I'm going to give it a little go. If it stalls here and falls back to 284, I'll go out at break even.
Space is looking like it's still trying to hold on to this level here. Nine moving average is flattening out. SPY and the Qs look like they're getting ready to turn up again. So
we are at what is this pre-market low, I think, right here.
Yeah.
So maybe we get a little support here.
Take another long on space. 31.58.
I like that.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it might want to move up here. We've got yesterday's close and the 20 moving average are right at 3170-ish.
Well, good sir, I think I'm going to call it. I'm not seeing anything else that I'm willing to put my money in, so I think I'm going to
Yeah.
keep it, call it a Friday, get this
Good
weekend
deal.
started.
Good deal, buddy.
So,
Well, thanks for
great trading with
good
everybody this
share.
morning.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had a really nice trade on that Apple. Good
Yeah,
one.
that worked out nice.
Yeah.
So cool.
All right. Well,
Keep it
you have a
green,
good
my
weekend.
friend. Great week
Yeah.
trading with you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun. Always fun trading with Thor.
Always fun. Cool, everybody. Also, everybody
Right.
out there in YouTube land, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you. If you can, little thumbs up action, throw us a like, little subscription stuff, all that, all that jazz. Hook us up. We appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope everyone had a great week, and I look forward to seeing everybody next week. So, talk to you later.
Yeah. Have a good one. Good weekend, Thor. I guess it's going to be a little bit quieter. Thor was, I think last weekend was the big NYC meetup. Was that last weekend? God, just losing track of time here. 2 weekends ago. Yeah, I kind of thought so. Lost in time, lost in space. Oh yeah, so yeah, stuff looks like could be reversing. I don't know. We'll see if this is a double bottom on the Qs, or if we head lower. Again, the SPY is pulled back to sort of low a day after that little bounce. I'm getting out of space. That was just a small trade, but it's just I just don't like the price action. I just want to hang around in it. Again, it's kind of getting to that time of day where it's where things get a little dicey. And eggs finally doing a bit of a pullback here. Don't I would be would not be surprised if we get another move on that one. Oh, SPY's just dropped again. Q's just dropped again. Yeah, space is still not finished going down here. AMC is back up at the VWAP. That's interesting. Just because it's so heavily shorted, it could you could get a nice squeeze out of it. But I think that kind of happened early at the open. So it bounced off of S3. Neo is pumped up through the 9 moving average. Which may be a sign of a bit of a bottom here. Well, this is actually an area that could be interesting. I mean, we had a bit of a V reversal. What does that look like on a 1 minute chart? 1 minute chart, yeah, a bit of a V reversal. You had a higher low put in around 1025. You know, I always watch the 9 moving average, kind of give you an indication of whether getting a trend change. So the 9 EMA on a 2 minute chart, we kind of popped up and popped through it, then we pulled back, and now we're sort of back at it again, and made a higher low on that pullback. So you can use the low on the higher low, which would be around 42.66, as a stop out. But again, you know, a stock that's in a downtrend is, you know, the trend usually continues. And the other thing that's going on right now is the SPY and the Qs are continuing to sell off. So that's not probably helping NEO. So it's right at previous day close as well. That's sort of another area where you probably find some support. So at this time of day, you could take an entry here, 42.70, and then just keep a really tight stop on it. Again, if the indexes weren't selling off, it might be a more enticing trade. But at the very least, you've got a very tight risk to reward on that trade. So it looks like it's actually going to pop up here on NEO. So the 20 moving average is the next area where you're going to have some resistance. So maybe it'll get 43. I'd be taking some off here if you took it at 42.70. Yeah, there you go. There's your 43. Why didn't I take that trade? Hopefully other people did. Whoa. Anybody take that NEO trade? That was a nice, Jarad. Way to go. Oh, good, guys. Way to go. Awesome. Got 30 cents out of it. So that, you know, if you'd have risked 10, that would have been a 3-hour trade. And we may even squeeze more here on NEO. We got the VWAP here now at 43.20-ish area. SPY's bouncing. All right. Okay, everybody on YouTube, thanks for joining us today. As always, appreciate the likes and the follows. So if you haven't banged that like button already, appreciate if you did it. And I hope everyone had a good day. It was a bit of an interesting trading day. A lot of stuff started out in the green, and everything's a lot of stuff is in the red now. So good day to be shorting things. Yeah, NEG looks like it's using the 9 moving average on the 2-minute chart now as resistance. Sort of lost it, came back to the VWAP, and now it's now 9 moving average is resistance instead of support. You need to have the volume come back in on it. All right, everyone on YouTube, thanks very much. I hope everybody has a good weekend. And we'll probably see you again on Monday morning. Have a great one, everyone. Stay cool if you're in the West. Bye for now.